No matter where you are or what age you are, you can reinvent yourself, and you can do it right now. Hello, I'm Ave. I am a content creator on YouTube and owner of this channel, Life and Flowers. This is probably my fourth career reinvention, but career reinvention is just an example. This could be anything. This is unique to you. Whatever made you click on this video, you can achieve it. This video is chaptered, so you can skip around if you like. First, I'm going to prove to you that you can do it. You may have forgotten, but you've reinvented yourself many, many times before. Remember when you were a kid? You reinvented yourself every year when you were going to school. Remember how you felt that first day of school? You were nervous. You didn't know what to expect. It was going to be a new class, new kids, new subjects. But you went, because your parents probably made you. And by the end of the school year, you were completely comfortable and probably bored and looking forward to summer. Or remember when you brought your first baby home? I'm sure you felt prepared and relaxed and absolutely ready for this. No, I bet you didn't. I bet you were petrified. At least that's what my friends have told me and my family. I did not have children of my own, but I hear that story often. But now how do you feel about being a mother or a father? I bet you're pretty confident. Or that first day of a new job where you just feel like you're in a foreign country. You don't know anything. You don't know the building. You don't know the lingo. You don't know where the copier is or if you'll even need it. But then after a few months, you feel comfortable and you feel like you know what you're doing. So it may have been a while and you may have kind of forgotten how it feels to change and reinvent yourself, but you already know how and you can do it. First, you have to ask yourself, is this something that you want? Or is this some pressure from someone else or a family member? If it's something you want, almost nothing can stop you, really. I'm going to share a little story about myself, and I hope I can do it without crying. I was supposed to take over a family business, and it was a business that I loved, cakes and flowers. And by the name of my channel, you can probably tell I love flowers. I still love flowers, but I always wanted to go to college, and I did always love natural science. So something happened, and it inspired me to decide I was going to go back to school. Even though I was working full-time, I just kind of started to take a class here or there, and I had tried to take classes at community colleges before, and people would always suggest things like, oh, go into computer science, right? Because this was like the 80s and the 90s, and it was the next big thing, if you can imagine now. Well, if you're older like me, you can absolutely imagine it because you lived through it. And although I liked those things, they weren't really my passion. But I did start. I just took a class here and there. I thought, oh, I'll take some general ed. So that's what I did. I just started taking general ed. And toward the end of that, I went in to see a career counselor. This always makes me emotional, so I'll try not to cry. But anyway, I went in there and I was telling her that I loved geology. I always loved the natural sciences, but I said I didn't really want to be a geologist because I didn't really want to work in the oil industry. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just wasn't what I wanted. And she was looking and listening to me, and she said, a nearby state college has an environmental science degree, and I bet you would like that. And I walked out. Sorry, this will get easier after this. But I walked out of the office and I knew my life had changed because it spoke to me. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And honestly, it took me 11 years to get my degree because I was working full time and it was a science degree. But I won't say it was easy, but it was just a no-brainer. I never, ever looked back. I just went to school and I got my environmental science degree. So if it's something you want and you feel passionate about, nothing can stop you. Just start. Yes, you're going to have to think about it. Yes, you're going to have to plan, but just start. Nothing's going to happen unless you take that first step. You're never going to feel prepared. You're never going to feel all the way ready, but you are going to have to start. So today, my suggestion is after this video, or even shut off this video if you want and come back to it. Do something actionable today, and then of course, work on your plan. Make it something that you resonate with. Some people love beautiful binders. Some people like to, now electronically you could do some planning in some kind of software or something. My plan was literally on scrap paper. I just wrote out the semesters and the years and what it was going to take for me to get this degree. I scheduled everything around my work schedule. I was able to go to work at nights for years. After a while, I ended up having to go during the day, but that's what I did. I just started. And first, like I say, I started with that general ed. And even before that, I started with something easy because I wasn't used to being an adult, having, my own adult responsibilities and going to school. So I started with something easy so that I could get some confidence, get used to the schedule. And that's what I did. And then little by little, I just kept chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. I eventually transferred to the state university. And try not to get hung up in the details at first, because when you start, make a decent plan to start. You don't want to fall on your face straight out of the gate, although we are going to come back to that later. Just start, because your actions and your motions will tell you what to do next. For example, I ended up making flashcards, and I would put formulas or other information on there that I needed to know or memorize, and I carried these flashcards around me all the time. Some kind of set of these flashcards. I carried them in my pocket, my purse, and if I was ever standing in line or I ever had a spare moment, I was looking at those flashcards and I was studying. I just studied almost nonstop, but that wouldn't have come to me until I already began the classes. I also recorded my classes on a little recorder because, this was a while ago. Today I'd probably just use my phone, but I recorded them and then I listened to them while I was driving to school or to and from work. So go ahead and make a plan, and you'll probably have to revise your plan, but get started. Don't wait too long. You're not gonna be completely ready. Just start. Put yourself in places that make you feel this new reinvented self. Watch movies that make you feel this new reinvented self. Listen to podcasts, whatever it is, just surround yourself in this new world that you want to be in. I was coming from a creative world and going into an analytical world. So I would watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. For some reason, I just loved that show, and it inspired me. It made me feel like one day I would be working on a team of scientists. I would walk and hike the hills around my house and just imagine that I was an environmentalist and I was looking at the environments and I was understanding what they were. And you know what? I can hike those same hills today, and I do. And I remember those days. And I do know those environments now. I know what they are. I understand a lot about them, and it feels fantastic. And I think to myself, if I could have told myself then, don't give up. You can and you will do it. Physically get in that world that you want. Maybe you volunteer, maybe you join a club, maybe you join a fitness center if fitness is your goal. Whatever it is, just try to actually get in there, because you're going to learn so many things that maybe you didn't even know that you didn't know. And you're also going to meet people that will inspire you and help you along on your journey. Roll with failure. Just think of it as part of the plan. When I first started, I volunteered at an environmental consulting firm. And I actually got fired from a volunteer position, if that's even possible. But I didn't give up. Then after I graduated, I started going around looking for jobs and I couldn't find one. So I thought, I'm going to ask for an internship. And that's what I did. And I walked into this company that was near my house and I asked for an internship, and I got one. Eventually, they hired me, and I will tell you, that was a rocky road. It was not easy. It was an entirely new business for me. Even just sitting for 8 hours was new. I had a lot of failure. But you know what? I also learned a lot, and I met wonderful people, one of which is still one of my best friends today, and she knows who she is, and she helped me so much. I feel like I owe my career to her. So just, get in there, and if you fail, you know what? So what? Especially if you're an older person like me, as you get older, you're like, yeah, whatever. Just keep on going and don't be discouraged. It might get hard. In fact, it probably will. But try to check your ego at the door and just keep going. And you know what? Fast forward years later, I ended up running an environmental division, and both the company that I got fired from my volunteer position from and the other company that gave me my first chance, I ended up interviewing them as consultants for the place that I was working. So I literally sat on the other side of the table as the person hiring and interviewed them. And let me tell you, those were good days. Of course, I was completely fair and impartial. Now here I am, 60, almost 61, and retired from working in the environmental world, although I still volunteer, and I am now reinventing myself as a YouTube content creator and owner of this channel, Life and Flowers. I thought about it for probably 6 months, and then I just recorded my first video and I posted it. I actually ended up changing the name. I first called it Phases. If you ever see any of the very early videos, there might still be a few with the name Phases. Changed the name to Life and Flowers, which was perfect. I love it. It's exactly what I want to talk about on this channel. I'm not exactly sure where it will go. I'm just moving forward, and you can probably tell I'm not a true professional at this, but I will be someday. I know I will succeed if I want to and if I stick with it, and so will you.